This takes me a little bit to... I need to have a different window up on the screen. Hello, Freakazoids! How in the heck is it going? Man, that good, huh? Wow. Yeah. Hello, Oogla Boogla. Hey, it's not Ogla, it's U-O-O-G-L-A, okay? Poison Ivy, come on. It's not Ogla, it's Oogla, O-O-G-L-A, B-O-O-G-L-A, except Dennis Stewart always types it in with all kinds of stuff going on. Yeah. Okay, I was going to look at a couple different things. Let me refresh this page. So, man, I'm not able to shake the case we were discussing last night, right? And it was absolutely really interesting for me. Hold on, I gotta find my get my windows open on different screens. Yeah, the Tina Lauser case from January 30th, 1981. I did reach out to one of the family members, and we were texting back and forth. You know, I'm not going to say who or anything like that, but it was interesting. I mean, at first she thought I was a scammer. I would too, actually. Like a psychic trying to get in or whatever the hell it was, but that's not what I was doing. I just wanted to communicate with her because I'm not a psychic, everybody. I just investigate cases and try to put together all the facts. So actually a lot of the stuff that we were saying in the show last night, the thing is I always have to tell people that my show is really about we investigate what we can live on the show. Can you guys can hear me, right? Hello? Okay, good. Yeah, so it was really interesting. I'm actually going to go over some of the other stuff that was in the article. I actually made a whole notes document on this because it was so crazy. Yeah, right here. Well, you can't see it again, but before we do that, I was going to go and get the poll results for the Adrian Quintal case. All right, so we've actually had, believe it or not, 281 people put the votes in there. Yeah, let me switch screens so you can actually see it. Right, Control Plus. Okay, let me. My chat window is so tiny. I think it's because. Oh, there you go. Awesome. All right. So out of 281 votes, 55% of you believe that she left on her own free will in a mental episode. 14% think she left with her own free will and staged the scene. And then 31% believe that she was abducted after she was on the roof. So it looks like most people believe the 55%. I'm actually in this 14% category here. All right? That's the one I'm in. Now, also in the Tina Marie Lauser case, there's a whole bunch of stuff that, I mean, I spent the entire day actually going back over all the stuff that I had on the show last night and then looking things up and looking around, and there's something that was really interesting. So hopefully a lot of you actually watched the show last night, because if you didn't, you won't know what the hell I'm talking about. And just a little, some little nuances here. She was at the bank, Tina, and she left at 7:15, and two friends were actually supposed to go with her, but a call came in on a line, so she just went anyways and walked out the door. And then apparently everybody at the bank tries to park as close as they can to the bank, and then when they take their breaks at night, they try to park closer to the building when they come back, because then it's after, everybody's gone home for the evening at 5 o'clock, most people do, and 6 o'clock. So if you take a break at 7, there's going to be a lot more parking spaces open closer to work. So anyways, she came out and then drove on this street. Apparently this is how she would normally go, down the street like this, and then took a right on, let me get the names of these streets again. Van Buren Street, that's right. So she went down 10th Street, took a right on Van Buren, and what I was thinking was, oh yeah, she went here, and then on the way back home, her car was there, and it went ka-clunk, ka-clunk. Remember when I said that? Well, that was totally wrong when I said that. Because look at this. When you go down to Street View here, I just happened to be looking at this again. I came here, well, it's a one-way street. All of it. See, so the car, this is what's really confusing about this. Because she did make it to the mini mart. So that means her car, after driving down the street, went like this. She went to the mini mart here. And apparently that's where she was talking to a lady who was signing to her. Okay? Then her car ends up being back over here, right in this area, 200 feet from the mini mart. And probably just like right here. Okay? But how would it get there? With a flat tire and the tire slashed. So what that means is that after she was at the mini mart, whoever abducted her drove around the block like this and put the car right there. Or they put it there later. But the thing is the car was found there just 5.5 hours after she went missing. So I actually don't think... Hey, thanks, Jessica Terry. I think that car was put there right then.
Hi, freaks upside down face.
Thanks. So don't you guys, what do you guys think? That adds a little bit of a wrinkle to it. Because before it kind of made sense, like, oh, she went here and then maybe something happened and the tires are slashed. But it's a one-way street that goes like, basically, if you could just keep doing loops all day around like this if you wanted to. So you're driving down this street right here. Then it becomes this one-way street with 2 lanes even. So that's a little weirder at that point. And so earlier today I actually got on Street View and did the whole drive down. Took a right, went down this way like that, and then it's really weird. So I think they slashed the tires just to make it look like something else, right? But the fact that she made it to the store and then it's, well, here's the thing. I don't know this for sure. If it was 2-lane, one way back then as well. I guess I can't answer that question. Sometimes they change things like that, but. Let me just see how far back I can go, and if there's any way to. Yeah. I don't think there's any way to tell. I mean, you could almost make out the cars there, but that's not very good. So that does look like they're both facing that same way in 2005, but we're talking 1981. I'm pretty sure it's the same. Oh yeah, before I forget, there was another case that we were covering. Jessica Lopez. Okay, I had the wrong motel. Somebody pointed it out to me, and it's funny because I was gonna do this double check on the highway that it was on, and I didn't because I was distracted on the show. Reading all the hellos over and over. I'm just kidding. That wasn't it. So this is the motel that she was actually at. I'm just doing this really quick before I forget, okay? So here is the home where she was at, and the cinema is right there, the Chili's. So the hotel isn't far away. I had it a lot further up. It was way up there. Okay, so right here is where the hotel, and look at this place. This is the Jessica Lopez. This is just an absolute dive. This is the kind of place you'd see prostitutes and just a quick little room to get in and get out. I mean, look at all the doors are open. You got this door's even off over here. Just garbage. Okay. In my opinion. All right. Look at that. So that's where she was last seen that night. All right. So just keep that in mind when we get back to that case again. And then I actually called that motel and said, "Hey, can you tell me?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't know anything about it. You'll have to call the police." Yeah, whatever, dude. All right. So back to on the Tina case. So I'm just going to go over the notes that I have in this. All right. So I'll keep it off the side so maybe I can go to some of these spots. So Tina Marie Lauser, she went missing on January 30th, 1981. She lived with her 2-year-old daughter and one of her sisters, who also had a fiance. And who was married at the time. So she was living with a sister that was married, and with her 2-year-old daughter in an apartment. All right, and she is deaf, or hearing impaired, but can't read, but can read lips and speaks, although hard to understand. Okay, and she was deaf since birth. Is it not PC to say deaf anymore? I mean, I don't even know how this world works anymore. I know now it's hearing impaired. Hearing challenged. If you say deaf, all of a sudden it's bad. I haven't learned all the correctness of it. Hey, Nenny C, what's going on? All right. So she has been deaf since birth. Her husband Thomas Lauser, she was separated from. And let me put it over here so I'm not strangling. I'm almost strangling myself with the wire on my mic, turning my head all the way over to my other screen. Hey, thanks, Shogun Love. Look at that little dancing. Well, you guys call that a pear, but pears aren't that color. I've never seen a blue pear before. I don't know. Somebody's called it something else. Maybe it's a squash. Although a squash doesn't have a leaf on it, so forget it. All right, so let's go back. I'm going to go over this information here, so just keep all this in mind right here. So her husband, Thomas Lauser, was separated, also deaf, and he would have frequent fights, and that's what led to the separation with Tina. They had met in 1977 and married in 1978. And Tina was 25 years old, 5'6", 135 pounds, dark brown shoulder-length hair and brown eyes, light blue jacket, turtleneck sweater, and blue jeans. She lived at the Garden Quarter Apartments on Kirkwood Highway at the time, but that name of an apartment doesn't exist anymore. Employment, she worked at the Delaware Bank on 300 Delaware Avenue as a proof operator. Her shift started from 1 p.m. and she would take a dinner. The dinner break normally was 4 to 5. On Friday, January 30th, 1981, she was on break. She left work at 7:15 p.m. to get a snack at the Arco Mini Mart at 1022 Delaware Avenue. She was at the gas pumps at 7:20. After not returning from dinner break, employees called the police. Police called at 8:15 and arrived at about 8:45. At 1 a.m. the following, early in the morning, so just literally 4.5 hours after the police got there, her 1977 Pontiac was found at Park Place and Van Buren Street. And this is the type of vehicle she had. Hold on one second. She had a Pontiac Astra, so it looked like this. Something similar to that. It was blue Pontiac Astra right there. Kind of I bet that car would be worth some money today. And I had a question that I want to ask investigators. Did she make it to the mini mart? But that is verified that yes she did. One of the family members that I spoke with said yes, she made it to the mini mart. I want to know where exactly was it parked, and was the car parked consistent with the traffic? Like, was it backwards or was it facing the way it should be? February 3rd, police believe, they say that this is 1981, February 3rd. They believe foul play is suspected. Over the weekend, just prior to that, so on January 31st and February 1st, they did extensive searches, and they turned up a wallet that was found 3 miles south of Port Penn. All right, so she went missing from that gas station. And then I have everything marked now. This is Port Penn right here. 3 miles south of that was where they found a wallet. So if you just base it on traveling distance, that's the 3 mile mark, and they found a wallet there. They also found assorted checks, and that was between Port Penn and Augustine. So here's Port Penn, and here's Augustine Beach, actually. It's Augustine Beach, not Augustine. So that means between, in this section right there, within, it looks like maybe not even a mile, maybe 3/4 of a mile, they found a whole bunch of checks, probably blown by the wind. So you could tell that she was probably in the vehicle, already deceased, and whoever this was driving was throwing out different items, threw out the wallet here, and then eventually her body was found in the water right there. Now, one of the interesting things was that her shoes were found, and they were right next to each other, neatly placed, but we don't know where that was. So my question is, where were they found? And they were wiped clean of mud. Okay, now, would a man or a woman do that? If you're not a serial killer with some weird MO, who would do that, a man or a woman? I mean, just in general, right? Put a 1 if you think it's a woman who would do that to the shoes, or a 2 if it's a man. Clean the shoes and put them right next to each other. So you think men generally clean shoes and stack them right next to each other, but women don't. Okay, I see. All right. Yeah, well, the thing is I think it was a female who did that. But I see some of you, I think it's like 80% believe it was a woman who would do that. A shoe fetishist. Oh, boy. My God. All right. So here's the thing, is a witness called police and said they saw a woman in Miss Lauser's car when she disappeared. All right? And she was actually seen standing there with her, signing to her. Lauser's car when she disappeared, 5'4", and they know the height because she was standing next to her. She was 5'4", medium build, shoulder length, brown hair, wearing blue jeans and a green jacket. Almost, I mean, literally very similar to what Tina was wearing. And in the articles, it said, Linda said the description doesn't match any of her sister's friends. That was in one of the articles. A question I would ask was, how did they determine height? Where was the sighting? Like, I guess it was just right there at the gas pump. So, woman was seen signing to Tina. So the woman was seen signing to her. And then that lady got in the car. And then now we find the car with the slashed tire. Okay, I don't believe that a woman is that small is going to be able to weight a body that weighs 135 pounds and then have cement cinder blocks and be able to get to that bridge and toss it over. I think it was her and somebody else. That's what I believe. I actually think that it's possible, this is my opinion, that the husband, the ex-husband, had something to do with it. I think that I said this last night on the show. I think that the husband probably was seeing somebody else. Then Tina became pregnant, and he wanted out of that completely, the whole situation with Tina, because he wanted to be with this other woman. So they hatched a plan, killed Tina. He, ends up, I don't know if there's an insurance policy or something like that. There could be. And then he got married not too long after that. So I need to look that up. I want to see when he actually got married to somebody else, because apparently after talking to family members, that this sketch right here looks an awful lot like the person that he married. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, and apparently, let's see. So one of the sisters, named Libby, was saying that, this is in the articles, was saying that Tina was exclusively seeing Thomas again. They just started, they had gotten separated 9 months after they got married. Isn't that quick? And apparently they got married because she was pregnant. So here we got another scenario where she's pregnant again.
Greetings from down under, upside down face.
Thanks, Wombat Dundee. How'd that sound? That sound like a radio voice? Maybe I could try to sound like Greeno or something. Let's see. Let me see if I can do it. Hold on.
Hey, and that was Wombat Dundee.
Hey, and check out my new channel.
Whatever, man. Yeah, so, yeah, what a clown. It's like he and his girlfriend, all they do is do shows, and every once in a while they'll bring my name up. It's like, listen, I don't even care what you guys do anymore. You guys are just absolute bloodsuckers, like whack jobs. L101, thank you. That's right. All right. So let's try to find that answer right now. How about that? What are we doing here? I'm going to go up here. Let's see if we can find this. That's a really unusual last name. It doesn't show up at all. Oh, hold on. Gotta get Delaware in there. Let's see, 1980, 81 to, let's say, 83. 1983. Let's see, there's actually a note in to our beloved Tina Marie Lauser on her 27th birthday, January 8th. Bashful, never dare, lovely, beautiful. I don't know if there's marriage announcements. Do they still do that in the 80s? Remember, like, if you go to the old newspaper articles from way back, 40s, 50s, 60s, you always get the marriage announcements. I guess we can find that a different way, though. Definitely need to get answers. This is a case that just has me kind of grabbed because it seems really solvable. What was interesting is I heard that law enforcement kept the vehicle. I doubt they held on to it, though. That's just not something they would do that long. I think they probably would have just sold it at an auction or something like that. But apparently, hopefully they still have the shoes. I think that if they send the shoes and perhaps some of the stuff she was bound in on the inner side, have the FBI test those items for DNA. That's what I would do. Wouldn't you? Are you guys still there? I'm becoming just sort of a social channel, I guess. Alright, let me see. I'm going to get this. Let me read these other clips that... Remember when I had that really huge page last night where I wasn't able to... I just didn't want to read the whole thing because it was so long. Well, I went back through that. And... Let's go through little parts that I thought were interesting that sort of speak to a little bit about what we were just talking about with the husband. They were married on September 7th, 1978, and the reception was held in the club room. Miss Hesse doesn't know where the ceremony was. This was a rush job, Libby Hesse says. Tina got pregnant. None of Mrs. Lauser's friends knew her husband very well, and neither did her family. Miss Hesse says, it wasn't until the Christmas after the wedding that they learned Lauser had a 10-year-old son by a previous marriage. Tina and Tom were separated 9 months after the wedding, so it didn't last long at all. Her and Tom fought all the time, Miss Hesse says. They didn't get along at all. She really loves him so much, but he didn't love her. So this is what I was in a conversation with. Doesn't this sound exactly like Patrick Frazee, this case? I mean, literally, it's just absolutely the same. I mean, literally down to everything. It's incredible. She really loves him so much, but he didn't love her, says Miss Lauser. And when I was talking to a family member today, it was that she loved him and she wanted to make it work out. See, he even said, you can move back in after you've been pregnant for 3 months. Right? But he was trying to pretend that he cared about her, stringing her along, and I think he did that so that when they did what they were going to do, just like Patrick Frazee, that it wouldn't look as bad on him because, wow, why would he do that? She was pregnant with his child and they were back together again. Why would he do something like that? Tina and Tom were separated 9 months after the wedding. She really loves him so much, but he didn't love her, says Miss Lauser. Longtime friend Cindy Gillian. She didn't want him to drink whiskey, but he was stubborn. Miss Lauser's family and friends characterized her husband as a flirt with other women. Wow, Patrick Frazee. Which greatly upset her. We tended to spoil Tina when she grew up, so she was used to having her own way. Miss Gillen says when she got married, she had to share things, and she wasn't used to that. But she did enjoy sharing camping and fishing trips with Lauser. He told the Sunday News... Wow, isn't that weird, too? That sort of outdoorsy... Sunday News Journal last night, just before Christmas, the Lausers went shopping at the dry goods with their friends from the Deaf Club, James and Marie Bowen. Although they were separated at the time, they shared the cost of a tiny table to give their daughter, says James Bowen, Jr. The Lausers continued dating after their separation. So they got separated, but then they continued dating, and family and friends of Mrs. Lauser says she is a few months pregnant, and they add Tom Lauser was the only man, to their knowledge, that Miss Lauser was seeing. The last time he saw his wife was January 25th, when we were out together. That's what he says. This is what Thomas said. When we separated, we argued a lot, he says, but I was waiting for her to be 3 months pregnant to move back with me. Well, how come? Yeah, why 3 months is the question that's actually asked in the article, because that's exactly what popped into my head just reading the damn thing. Why 3 months? It just seemed like the time was right. I don't know. I think maybe you were just trying to make sure to see if... Who the hell knows why 3 months? I think you were just keep pushing it back, because you wanted to kill her before she ever moved back in with you. That's the reality of it. The night Tina vanished, they were to meet at the club, as was their custom. So they're I think there's a deaf club that they were both in. That's where they met, too. Slowly, they were getting back together. I wanted her to believe I loved her, but she didn't believe me. And the reason she didn't, because she had great instincts. I would never divorce her because she loves me and I love her. Yes, he did hit his wife. Not too hard, though. 2 years ago, when they argued, I hit her for some stupid reasons. Well, how do you hit her when you have a reason that you feel really strongly about, that you're not telling us about? I hit her for some stupid reasons a long time ago, but Tina never punched me. She was always scared. Well, what does that mean? So when you would hit her, she didn't hit you back because she was scared to hit you? Wow, you're so cool. Hey, thanks for telling us that, you idiot. Now it is Tom Lauser who says he is scared. I miss her. I'm unhappy. What a weird phrase, right? I miss her. I'm unhappy. Right? I mean, yeah, we know that, okay? Who says that, though? Hey, I miss her. I'm unhappy. It sounds like you're reading a script to say something like that, but a really bad one. I mean, imagine having a movie where, you got an actor and his wife just got killed, or completely disappeared. I think this is when this was written, is when she's totally gone. She's been gone for 2 months. Imagine that, and then having the script say, man, I miss her. I'm unhappy. Wow, I think you'd send that writer right back to writing school. It's ridiculous, okay? Like everyone else, Libby Hesse is baffled by her sister's disappearance. This whole thing has me stunned. Yeah. See, that's the thing, is this is a family member. She says she wouldn't have just left with anyone. Tina did not like strangers at all. So this person who went up and signed to her it could have been that, the family member I spoke to thinks that maybe they used the child, the 2-year-old child, because apparently the child was her daughter, Tina's daughter. It was 2 years old and was her entire life, really. And maybe the person came up in the ruse with something like, hey, something happened to your child, and then they get in the car together, go around the block. I don't know how that happened. I mean, did somebody get in the car as well? Did they go somewhere else first, and then that car was actually dropped back off there hours later, making it look like she never made it to the ARCO station? I mean, that's a possibility, right? That she got in that car, they drove somewhere to somebody's house. Then later they drove the car all the way back there to make it look like she was on her way to the ARCO but never made it, and then somehow got abducted then. I think that's actually a little better scenario than her being abducted right then. Right in that really sort of congested spot with all those homes and everything. So if you get into the car and you drive, let's say she said, hey, yeah, something's happened. We got to go over to, so-and-so's house, quick. They go over there, but there's somebody else waiting. Perhaps her ex. Right? What are you talking about, Gene? You're always throwing in little comments that don't really fit half the time. Yeah. So anyways, she got into the vehicle. The person who was signing apparently got in the vehicle with her. So I think she probably had Tina drive off to another location, and that's when she was attacked. Then one of the two people drove the car back, parked it as if it was on its way, but had to pull over before making it to the ARCO station. And then they took her some other way. Oh, man, this is crazy. This is just Patrick Frazee part 1, really, because Frazee was later. Maybe he read about this story. Hey, Carol, look at the flowers. Yeah, and the tire was slashed. That's exactly right. It wasn't a flat tire. They literally, that's why I'm saying they made it look like it was a flat tire, because the tire was slashed, right? That's on the show from last night. So I think that makes more sense. So if we're going to look at the map here, go back up to the area right there. Now I'm going to keep following this case. Sorry if that bugs you guys, but this is definitely one that I'm going to bug somebody. I'm going to bug some people. So I think, forget where this isn't going to be right there. I think the car was found like right here-ish. Right in that spot. And so what would happen was, Tina's here getting gas. The person gets in the car with them. Then they drive somewhere way out here. Who the hell knows? Then the person comes back. Either comes this way, or I don't know if there's a way. Yeah, maybe he drove down this street and then across, took a right, and then just parked the car there, slashed the tire, and made it look like that earlier Tina was driving and got a flat tire and just pulled over here. And then on her walk to the ARCO, she disappeared. Okay, I don't know if they even had surveillance cameras back then. Right? Yeah. Well, the lady was seen. I know what you're saying up there, Gene, when you say because the clerk saw her and identified her, right? I know what that means. Because the clerk is the one that saw the person and then is the one that came up with the sketch. But obviously it wasn't that stupid, because nobody knew who she was. And back then, there was no surveillance footage to put out an image to the public. It was here's a sketch. And as we all know, sketches are just a possible likeness. They don't really look like anybody. What are you talking about, Paul? Yeah, I think there's two people. That's what I'm saying. I think it's possible that the ex-husband, along with the ex-husband's girlfriend at the time, did this. That's what I think. Yeah. So she knew Tina and then saw the other person. Right. So I'm going to, with help from a family member, I might be getting more information. I don't know. I'd like to get the police reports. Apparently the police have similar thoughts to what we have, or what I have anyways. I can't say all of us think the same thing, but what I'm suggesting here, they had similar thoughts but couldn't prove anything. All right, but this is now, we're talking about 2019. So if they, for God's sakes, kept any of those items, the shoes, did you keep the tape or whatever it was that was, her body was secured and then it was weighted down and put in the river, the inside of those items? There could have been a hair. There could have been, if there was any duct tape involved, was there, who knows? Hell, even the wallet, okay, was thrown out of the vehicle. Now, one issue is that if they found touch DNA of the husband on there, it wouldn't really mean much because they were dating again. Right? So she could have touched him, held his hand, and she grabbed her wallet and earlier in the day, and it would have been on there. That's the problem. Well, a lot of times they think that they have sort of a deal together. Like Crystal, right? She wouldn't think that because, well, I don't know. Yeah, well, they kind of think that law enforcement isn't really looking into this anymore. I think this is about as cold as a case as you can get, but it's so interesting. It has so many different elements in it. It just feels like something needs to be going on with it. I think it's interesting. I've never heard of this case before. Have you? Has anybody heard of this at all? Honestly, has there ever been a podcast or anything at all related to this? I'm shocked, actually. Anyways, hey, listen, the lines are open, and you guys can call in if you'd like and discuss it or anything else. Tell us your true crime stories. I'm going to be on here till maybe 8. And then I'm going to ride my bike, and then I'm going to watch Walking Dead. Crystal, a.k.a. Beaver Gaming Sub Crystal. Yeah, this seems like one that you would hear. It should have been out there. Here, let me get this. 501, you're on the air.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Pretty good. Who's this?
My name's Justin.
Yeah, what's going on?
Nothing. I had a hell of a time trying to get through your authentication. If
What do you mean?
you could call it that.
You just type in the code and hit a pound key. It's not really, it's not hard. Yeah.
It is for Arkansas boys.
Okay. I'm just saying. So anyways, you dialed the phone number and then you typed in the 337-024-907, hit the pound key, then it says, hey, do you have this one? And you say, no, you hit the pound key again, and then it goes right in. So what's going on?
Nothing. How are you?
Well, pretty good. There must be a reason you're calling.
I am. Well, yes, there is. Hold on a sec. While I come out to my living room. All right.
Yeah.
Can you help me with programming?
What do you mean?
Well, I'm working on a Python script that's based in Selenium, and I'm having a fucking hell of a time, and I need help. And Stack Overflow cannot help me, and I'm just wondering maybe if you can.
But why are you asking me that? What makes you think I know anything about Selenium and that kind of thing?
Well, I've asked everybody else on the fucking internet, and nobody else has an answer. So that's why our conversation has come to this.
No, but what made you want to ask me about that? Selenium and...
Because I've asked everybody else. I've asked everyone else.
I know, but what makes you think I know something about that?
It doesn't matter if you do or don't.
Well,
no one else does.
Well, I mean, I actually do use that all the time. But
well, there you go.
But I'm just
So
trying. But
why
what I'm
would I
wondering
not
is what
ask
made you.
it?
But what made you think that I used that? Because this is a true crime channel. It has nothing to do with anything that you're calling in about.
Hey, if you know it, I'm good to ask, right?
But it has nothing to do with. Okay, yeah. Here's what I do. Stack Overflow does have all the information, and there's a whole bunch of information
No,
on
they
there.
don't. No, I have ran out of Stack Over. I have reached the limit of Stack Overflow.
What do you mean by that?
And I'm asking you now.
Mm-hmm. What do you want? What answer do you want? What are you looking for? I mean, I guess you haven't asked a question.
Do you know Selenium?
I don't. I know how to use the Selenium WebDriver to go out on the internet and collect data, basically.
That's a really shoddy answer. Like,
That's the answer I'm gonna give you, because I use XPath to collect different elements off of a page.
XPath.
Are you all right, man?
That's man.
Well, what do you need it for? What do you want to use it for? Hello?
I want to decrypt the matrix.
Okay. All right, see you later. What an idiot. Jesus. Man. I was trying to figure out what the hell he was talking about. Like, why is he talking about Selenium? Decrypt the matrix using Selenium? Yeah, it doesn't really work like that. What was weird, though, is I actually do use that, like, all the time. So that was interesting. Interesting that he would even bring that up. That's why I was wanting to know where the hell he got that from. Nah, I don't think it was a Kanika troll. Just a troll. Just a troll in general is what that was. I mean. So why doesn't somebody normal call in and you can talk about this? Yep. Does say Arkansas there. Yes. Call in the show. Let's talk Tech Talk. Yeah. Yes, I do use the Selenium driver. Chrome driver, actually, with the Selenium library to, for work, actually. Not all the time, but when it's needed. If you need to scrape a page that has JavaScript in it, you need to use something like that because it loads it up and then you can collect data. I did this crazy one for a client the other day. Man, I was like a magician. How I got that. All right. 614, you're on the air.
Am I on the air?
Oh God, you almost
Hello?
got.
Is that great?
Yeah, you almost got hung up on.
G'day, mate.
Yeah, what's going on?
G'day from Australia, Gray. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad.
It's Robin speaking here.
Robin.
Yeah, it's not a true crime story. I've just got a couple of questions I was going to ask you about the mysterious cabin case.
Uh-huh.
And what your thoughts are. Number one is there was a shot fired into the ceiling.
Yeah.
Do you think that potentially could have been a warning shot to the perpetrator if there was two people outside?
I mean, that's kind of dumb. Right?
Like
I mean, I know people keep saying that, but like, why would you go, hey, that's just weird. Like, I mean, I would never just fire a warning shot into my ceiling. It's like, I think you would just fire a shot over their heads or something. I don't even know what that was for.
Yeah,
I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me when people say, "Oh, it's a warning shot." Well, because in their mind they're picturing somebody in a bar. When you're in a bar and somebody, everybody's fighting, and all of a sudden some yahoo pulls out a gun, blasts it at the ceiling, and everybody's quiet now and paying attention. It just that doesn't actually happen in real life, though. That's in the movies. I've never heard of anything that like that actually happened.
I just wonder if it's pitch black outside and you're hearing noises and apparently there's two guys or something. It's got me thinking, this one. I watched your entire and John's entire YouTube, and it's really, really quite baffling, isn't it?
That's crazy.
The other thing is with the shoes on the roof. Now, my thoughts on that are that if she climbed out of that window and jumped on that side thing and then made her way up to the roof, that maybe she took her shoes off first, because it might have been better grip if it was a little bit slippery or icy. Mm-hmm. I know it's cold, and then when she got to the roof, was going to put the shoes back on again and then jump off.
Well, that's a lot of work when you're stressed out. I just think here's what I think probably is the reality of it. She was in the house, and she probably didn't even have her shoes on at the time. Well, okay, in the abduction scenario where there really are two people outside, let's say she didn't have her shoes on and she was like, okay, I got to get out of here. Grabs her shoes, goes up the stairs really quick, and then she gets up at the top. She has her gun, her shoes, and her phone, and then realizes, oh crap, I'm out of bullets. And then the people say, hey, and they've got her. She gets off the roof and leaves her phone and her shoes up there, drops her gun, it slides down the roof, goes onto the ground. She gets off and then goes with whoever they're doing. And in her leaving scenario on her own, the weird part is it's almost like
it's a weird one, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's a case where it's almost like supernatural kind of. It's strange, It's it would be great for a movie to have her just being abducted by aliens off that roof, because it doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah.
Why would you leave your shoes and your phone up there, even if they told you, hey, get down from there? Unless somebody said, drop everything, get down here, and she got down. That makes some sense right there, right? Like, she gets up to the roof, she was going to start firing, and then they say then she starts pulling the trigger and it's clicking, there's no more bullets, and she's like, oh shit, and they got her trained on it with the gun. They say, hey, drop everything you got, get down here. She drops the gun, it slides off the roof, she drops the phone and puts the phone and the shoes down. Probably dropped the gun, but then put the phone and the shoes down, and then slid, and then just got off the roof, and they took her away. That would be something that makes some sense.
But then, there's a lot of it. The bedroom in the cabin, is it at the back or is it at
I don't
the front?
Have any
when we
idea.
had the photos.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if it was at the front, because where the roadside was, there's got to be a car involved, surely.
Yeah, well, the shot that I think the ladder, it looks like it's on the back of the house, which is towards the road, I think. And then I'd love to see somebody go out there with a camera and just film the whole house in a circle, and then go inside and film, and then go inside and film all the rooms and show what the hell they're talking about. That would be something that would be good
it would be good to actually see what kind of vision the person would have from those windows looking out. If you're shooting, if the window that was, whether there's the bullet or the glass is broken or whatever, like, what are you actually seeing if you look out of that? Are you looking at the road, or are you looking out of what? Which the trees? Where if she's firing out of the cabin at the two people who she supposedly saw.
I think just trees she's looking at. Just trees, I think.
Gee, you need night vision,
Well, the thing is it's so dark out there that when her inside of the house was lit, so it really effectively turned the glass into mirrors. So if it's true what the sister, or what happened was, what the sister was saying was that she shot herself in the glass, then wow, you really would be kind of having like, oh, I shot her in the face, and really believe that, then you would be having a mental breakdown at that point. To actually think you shot somebody in the face, but it was actually you in a reflection. That's weird.
Yeah, the other, I think one of the, I think you mentioned it actually in your video, what her state of mind was when she was actually on the phone to the friend, could tell us quite a bit, in the sense that, how panicked was she, how much was actually going on in the background, because it's literally open for every single theory out there. I was thinking, Gray, well, maybe she was seeing someone else. Well, this is a made-up story.
Well, that's my actual theory. That's why I have I'm in the 14% category. 55% believe that she had a mental event. 14% believe what I think. I think she left on her own will and staged an event, and then got into a car with somebody else and left all that other stuff behind. Now, we haven't heard anything about her purse at this point. Like, we've heard about the phone.
Yeah, money.
Yeah, so what's going on with that? But then wouldn't they be checking to see if it was used? So who knows? I just don't really...
Because Lundy, it sounds like the relationship, he wasn't working, was he? And he hadn't been working for a long time.
Right.
And he comes back, he leaves, drives back for 4 hours with tiles, because they're doing work on the house. You'd think that, there would be other stuff that they could bring back if they were doing work on the house, and why take it at that particular time? Because if you had a job to go back to, you can understand it. But if you haven't got a job to go back to, and you're not actually doing anything, then what the hell would you be doing? Hey, I'm going to drive back now with the tiles.
Well, yeah, but no, he left 2 days. He left 2 days before this whole event, and then so she was on a call with a friend. So that means she was there. Now, can he prove he was actually not there during that time?
Yeah.
Can he prove that he was still back where, I think, was it Florida, where they're fixing the tile or something like that? 250 miles away? Yeah, so can he prove that? But what's weird is he lawyered up. So, I don't know. It seems like if you had an airtight alibi, you'd be really helpful. But obviously he thinks he doesn't have one. Right?
And the other, if they talk about DNA and all of those type of things, he's going to be all over the cabin. So, they can't say, oh, yeah, we know you were here, because he can say, I was there. I was there. I told you I was there, but I left 2 days before. But it didn't sound like a kind of a healthy relationship from when listening to the interview with the relative, the sister, I think it was. And maybe it was this is the only way I can get out of this relationship, by escaping from this guy, because he's really possessive, which I think was mentioned.
That's exactly my whole scenario, is that exact same thing.
And
she wanted out.
And I can't take the phone. Because that pings. I know that. I'll be followed. The only thing that I can take is what I've got on my, what I'm wearing, and effectively, it might even be a friend that's planned it with her, as opposed to seeing somebody else. Because when you look at the photos, and I was looking at the news clips, there's snow around. I mean, there would be, car tracks and footprints.
Well, was there snow around when this occurred? I don't remember seeing how long after that was those interviews that we were looking at. Was it the next day, or like 3 or 4 days later?
Yeah.
Hard to know.
Yeah, it's. I mean, that sort of goes hand in hand with the one you covered yesterday on in Delaware about the blind woman. Been thinking about that one too.
Yeah, I don't think there was. I don't think there was any snow on the ground, though.
Was there mud?
Yeah.
Is it quite muddy though?
Yeah, they said it was like leafy dirt sort of stuff where you couldn't really leave tracks or anything like that.
Right. So
which one was
zero evidence?
Which one was the blind case? Did I do one with the blind? What happened?
The blind case that you covered yesterday in Delaware, with the lady who left to go get some food at the garage.
Well, she's not blind,
at the service station.
Well, she's deaf. If she was blind, she wouldn't have developed.
Deaf.
I was going to say.
Yeah, sorry, deaf.
I go, wow, did I do one that with a blind person? Because I was thinking.
Maybe she was maybe she was driving a German car. But yeah, that one is also quite baffling. That seems to me.
It's amazing.
That's a staged, planned abduction. 100%. With the flattening of the tire.
And I think that the car was put back there later, but that same night.
Do you think so?
Yeah, because it just sort of it makes more sense, because why so let's say it was just the girl, because unless you can prove to me that some other guy jumped in the car at the same moment, there was no witness to that. So the girl that she's talking to gets in there, and it sounds like she got her to take her somewhere. So let's say they go somewhere, and then they go somewhere, and then let's say she's killed somewhere else. Then they drive the car back and then leave it facing right there, making it look like it got a flat tire before ever making it to the mart. See? Throwing police off.
Yeah.
It's a one-way street, too.
Yeah, because the only other way it would kind of happen would be as if when she went into the service station garage to get wherever she was getting.
Like somebody got in.
Someone actually... someone actually pushed the air out. You can put a pen down and it.
Well, no, but it was slashed. The tire was slashed, actually. That was in one of the articles. I think we said that last night in one of the. But it was actually.
Well, then that's after that.
Yeah.
That's got to be returned. That means that the vehicle's got to be returned, because if it was done at where she was buying the food, you'd have just left the car there. Get it repaired.
Yeah, or it could have. I mean, I guess the scenario that could have happened would be that the girl that got in the car had a gun or something like that, forced her around the block. There was somebody waiting in another vehicle. They move her into that vehicle. But that seems so dangerous to me. I think a better way to do this would have been to have her get in the car, drive somewhere where she gets out of the car, goes into another house or something. Then she's killed, unfortunately. Then, and then they, whatever they do, they wrap her up. They have her purse. They have the cell phone. I mean, not cell phone. There's no the purse, and she's wrapped up, and she has the what do you call it?
And then dumped.
Yeah, like a cement block attached to her. And then they throw stuff out on the freeway to make it. I don't know what the purpose of that was. Just to sort of leave a trail, but the trail leads to where they dumped her body.
body was.
Although they didn't really find her body at all during that time. It just floated up after, decomposition and gases, and then the body floats to the surface, even with the cement blocks. Yeah.
Do you think it could be the partner, like a bit like the a 20-year ago Frazee scenario? Patrick Frazee,
Yeah, that's what I've been saying on the show. Yeah, I've been saying. I think it's almost identical to Patrick Frazee. He tricked her into pretending that he actually cared about her again to achieve some other goal. Had nothing. And the women in both these cases believe. Well, he claims she didn't believe it, but she wanted. And I'm talking about this case. That guy, his name is Tom. He claims that Tina didn't believe that he loved her, but she wanted him to. So, she was trying to.
Yeah.
She wanted it to work. She cared. She really loved him, but she didn't believe he loved her. But she just kept trying to make it work.
Yeah.
It sounds like.
And I think it's quite important, which I think you touched on, is the he would actually know her routine, and it sounds like from the interviews with the co-workers that she did this trip pretty much every day when she was working. So if he knows that she's going to be there at a certain time when her break is, he can actually be there in a car, or even though they said it was a woman, or a woman can be there who she might know and offer to assist her.
Yeah, hold on one second. Hey, if you guys want to watch the full interview, go to John Lorden's channel. Mine has it in there, but he kind of has it all together and it's condensed. I stop it and talk for a while and so forth. He just said I could use the interview, so we put it on the show. All right, but go over there and watch it. But everybody knows, Gene, that he interviewed the sister and she was beaten in July with head injuries. Okay, in that other case. So now get back. What were you just saying?
Oh, sorry. I'm still trying to work out because the eyewitness said it was a woman, who the woman would be. Like it could be the friend who offered, his affair, or who he was seeing, offering her, like, I just don't know what the excuse would be for her to say, okay, yeah, I'll follow you now then.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it could be anything, I suppose. Your husband's had an accident. Can you come over?
Yeah, and what's interesting to me is that there's a female there that nobody recognizes at all from her friends over at the club or anything like that, but it's a woman that knows sign language. So that means that immediately now you can connect to the husband because he's also deaf. And apparently, he probably wants to marry somebody that knows sign language. So then you start. That's why on last night's show I was thinking, well, who was he dating just prior to getting back together? But maybe he was just still dating this other person the whole time too. And maybe that person knew that she was 3 months pregnant or 2 months pregnant, and they just said, "Wow, we just can't have this." And who knows?
This is the plan. We've got to do this. Yeah. Wow, interesting, very interesting. Okay, I'll let somebody else get on the line now. I just wanted to get your thoughts on the brief on the cabin, and I'm just curious where the bedroom is in that cabin. And
it's a weird one though. It's almost like, it was funny because after we recorded a podcast for 3 Minute of Mystery, everybody. After we recorded an episode, I asked him. I would just randomly brought up the case because I didn't even know he'd made a new episode on it. And he said, I just interviewed him. So we were just talking about it. And I don't know, it was interesting. Just I can't remember what my point was, but there was something I was going to say related.
Yeah, where the bedroom, we're getting a camera on the inside of the cabin, seeing the layout, because then you can start to sort of see perhaps how she was firing out of the cabin, what she was actually firing at. Right. But I think that, I think the big thing, one of the big things here is just that whole idea of, being with someone who wasn't working, and if he's not working, he's going to feel perhaps, maybe a little bit at times anyway, what's the word? Inferior or insecure or whatever. And it just doesn't sound like, how long can you support someone who just doesn't work? She sounded like she was she comes from a really good family.
He's probably he's a loser, and she's somebody that thought, oh, I can get him to change. He'll probably start doing this and this and this, and then he just never did. He just like a leech type. And so, she just probably was like, I want out of here. That's exactly my scenario, is that she just wanted out.
I think so too.
She wanted out. She staged this thing, left with somebody else, and is out there. That's actually probably the best scenario, right? Like, that means she'd still be alive.
I think so.
If she left in a brain issue, that means she's probably in the woods dead, and the other one, she's probably not alive either if she was abducted. So
I think that there's quite a good chance that she's still alive.
Well, I don't know if it's a great chance, because it's only 14%, because apparently that's what everybody else thinks.
Is that right?
Yeah, only 14% agree with what we were just saying. Oh yeah, here I remember what I was going to say was I was talking to him about the show, and I said, "Oh man, about this case." I said, "What about that one case?" I go, "You know what? You should do a brain scratch on it, because it's weird." And he goes, "Oh, I did. I just put it out this morning," and then I watched it, and I was like, "Oh man, can I use that whole interview?" And he said, "Sure." So
it definitely added a new layer to the story. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially from the family side of it as well, of how she changed her appearance and how her personality changed when she was with the guy.
Yep.
And then the previous incident, where they both got beaten up or had the problem. And I'm just thinking, like, the idea of two people being out there, and it just doesn't seem right, and it just seems so convenient. And I think it could be one of those situations as well, Gray, where the longer it goes on, the more difficult it becomes for her to actually, say, "Hey, I'm alive." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas,
right,
because I think if it garners more media coverage and gets bigger and bigger, you then start to think, "Oh my God, I'm in a lot of shit here."
Hey, you know what's interesting?
I shouldn't have done this.
You know what? I'm actually looking at this, and I remember they mentioning swamp, right? And I wasn't seeing it on other photos, but look, I don't know if you can see the screen, but man, yeah, that's absolutely right next to the house here. I think that's water, and I think we can know that's water because right there, that's water. So look at that. It's like this little lower depression area there that goes all the way back. So I guess if she did have a mental event and went out that direction, maybe she could be found in there. Huh.
I think the other thing is if she went that way, she wouldn't have been able to get too far by the looks of it. So it's not like you're looking in a big search area.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like
a swamp.
It's a strange, I don't even know what's going on here really, but it's like more swampy there, then it gets dry. Kind of looks like water comes.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
It looks like there's a hill as well, doesn't it? At the back of the end of the swamp there. It looks like there's some kind of bank or...
like it's a low point there.
Or is it? Yeah, so I don't think that the actual search area would be that great, especially, because the police were there so quickly. Well, I say so quickly, half an hour, 40 minutes. If she was in the bushes and freaking out, was she then starting to think that the police who arrived were also after her? If that was the mental breakdown side of things. But I don't think that. A lot of people say about Eliza Lamb that that's how she got into the tank at the top of the Hotel Cecil, and I just don't think that this is the case here, because by the interview with the family member, there didn't seem to be any previous incidents, happening where she was doing the same kind of behaviour, and they were worried about it. extensively to say, hey, you need to go and see somebody. You know,
yeah,
it
yeah,
just
that's
seems to
another,
me-
yeah, exactly. Cause that's what I was thinking. Because she asked, "Hey, does she have any mental issues?" Nope. But she did get hit in the head in July.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, now, but we're talking about October now. That would have gotten better, I think. I
Yeah.
mean, a little better than it was in July, and she hadn't shown any signs.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, miraculously, 2 days after the husband. I mean, how do we know that this didn't happen? Hey, would you go back and help? Start doing some of the work on our condo back in Florida? And he's like, okay, sure. And she says, oh yeah, I'll see you there. I'll do some hunting, blah 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 blah. And then boom, she's out of there.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Maybe
And
there was abuse going on too. We don't know, right?
Yeah, no, we don't. No, it's yeah. So I think I don't think she's in the area, and I think she's long gone. And I think, you know, it could be one of those situations where it's just a case of eventually because someone's obviously helped her, whoever that is, may come forward, or she may come forward herself because she realises how much of a problem it is for the, you know, worrying the family and everything. And it was just some kind of crazy plan to get away from maybe the partner. But I could be completely wrong, and that's just what I'm thinking at the moment. Let's see where it goes. So,
yeah, well, I mean, I think we're on the same page on this one.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Any
Lovely to talk to you, Gray.
Any questions about selenium or Google?
I was just wondering about the Matrix.
Okay.
Yeah. So, can you help me? Can you help me decode the Matrix?
Sure. Yes. Just down the selenium driver from using Stack Overflow.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. I'll see if I can download that on the laptop and see if it's got enough space for it to work. We'll see how we go.
All right.
All right. Lovely to talk to you. Have a great day.
All right.
Talk later.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Robin from Australia. All right. Somebody can call in. We got another 40 minutes to go here. Yeah. Yeah, there's just too many could have this, could have that. Let's just go with the macro things. Yeah, because when we start doing could have this, could have that on little tiny things, then that's where you get lost. If you stick with the bigger things, then you might be able to narrow something down. You know, well, she could have had a Pepsi in her left hand and then a Coke in her right hand, but then when she thought she saw somebody outside, she put the Coke down, grabbed her pistol, and then a little bit of the Coke bounced out, and then she aimed the gun at the air and shot the roof, and then see, that's what I'm saying. It gets kind of... Thank you, Kit Kat. I should go get myself a dark chocolate Kit Kat. Probably not. I've had enough candy.
Call in freak smiling face with smiling eyes.
Hey, Jules, you should call in. Why don't you try it? Jules is the one that always sends a lot of the updates on all the different stories that I cover. She's awesome. Thank you. Not quite as glamorous, I know. Did you notice I just kind of shift the 4 serial killers' faces around on the thumbnail of my videos? So that's all I'm going to ever do, is just kind of keep shifting them around. That's the only difference. And the wording. Well, people call from Australia. Yeah, if it goes through, then no, because it's just all over the internet. It's VPN. I mean, I guess, huh? Well, if you put the app on your computer or your phone and then call in that way, I bet, and then turn off the video. I think that way it would actually be completely free because it would just be over the internet. Although I know in Europe they like to charge you for everything. Every little just nickel and dime, every freaking. %70 taxes? What do you mean? Isn't that amazing? Do you guys even know this? I bet half of you don't even know this. Well, actually, a lot of you are my age. But when Carter was president, that the wealthy people were paying like 75% or more in taxes. I mean, why would you even aspire to make a damn thing at that point? You know, you make $1 million and you pay $800,000 in taxes. That is so absolutely ludicrous. I can't even. Man, so why not just make some smaller amount? Yeah, go look it up. It was crazy. The high tax brackets were 70-something%. And check this out. Your mortgage interest rate was like 17%. I mean, it was insane during that time. Let's see. Mortgage interest rates in the 70s. Let's see what it says. Now, during the Carter time, it was way more than that. Hold on. Let me go find it. Maybe it was right then. What? Look at that. So it was just after, like, Carter was there until, I think, 80, right? So 80's right there. Look at this. 16%. But the whole 80, 71, 8%, then it's about 10%, 74, 10%, and then bang, it shoots up there. And then Reagan gets in there. Let's see, hold on. So it's been 72, 76, 80, 84, yeah. So this is about 82, so 2 years in there, and then boom, it just went down, 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 down. Actually, this might be a better way to do it right here. Yeah, so it went up highest just 2 years after the Carter administration. So he got it up to 12.8, and then under Reagan, it started going down finally. So it was at 13, and then his second, let's see, 84, then his second term, it just went way down comparatively to 9.84. But look how low it got now. I mean, that's insane. So when we're all so lucky to have such low interest rates. Could you imagine paying 19% now? I mean, your payment would be actually prohibitive. You wouldn't even be able to own a home. I'm not sure why I diverged there, but nobody called in, so I wasn't thinking of anything else. Overall, 3.31. That doesn't make any sense. That's wrong. Oh, overall lowest 3.31. Let's see what we're doing on the debt clock. There we go. Do you guys ever look at this? This is our national debt clock. So look how high we are right now. 23 trillion. And that's $69,000 per citizen. $186,000 for everybody who pays taxes. Okay? Because we never pay anything off. You ever notice that? We just keep spending and spending and spending and spending and spending and spending and spending. Even when we had a surplus under Clinton, it didn't go to paying off anything. It went to just into other programs. See, here's what I would like to do is if we ever have a year where we bring more money in taxes than what we actually need to spend, we take that money and then send it to somebody that we owe money to. Doesn't that make sense? Yeah. There's a bigger number that's the unfunded liability. Yeah, I think it's over here. The total debt, unfunded, $74 trillion. Actually, I'm gonna get the hell out of here. It's too depressing. It's like, here's the revenue, right? So we're bringing in $3.4 trillion so far this year. Look how slowly that thing ticks away. But this thing, bang, it just shoots up like a cannon. U.S. federal revenue to GDP ratio. Right now it's 16.4. Okay, yeah, I can get out of here because I got a call. Hey, 413, you're on the air.
Hey, Greg, it's Christina or KT here.
What?
How you doing?
Wait, what was all that extra stuff at the end? Who was it?
I'm in the chat as Christina is my name, but I'm also KT.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see.
So this is, I'm really glad that you brought up the whole tax thing because it made me think of this, and I was wanting to ask someone that I actually trust their opinion. Okay, so you know how when the banks first came out with money, it was because people had gold and they didn't want to carry it around with them, so they gave them, gold and silver notes. And you know how so the money would say on it like silver certificate or gold certificate?
Yeah, well, like it was,
and they told people, don't.
Well, it was like backed by gold, the money.
Yeah, so people had gold and they went to the bank and they said, I'll give you my gold, you're going to hold it for me, and in exchange you're going to give me this, paper that says gold certificate or whatever, right?
Oh,
so then that was the only receipt they had that they had given the banks gold or silver. So when the banks stopped producing paper money that was backed by gold or silver, who got to keep all the gold and silver that our ancestors had given the banks originally?
Well, didn't they still have that little voucher paper that allowed them to get their See, that wasn't really money that they were handed. They were handed like a certificate to go get their money. I mean, I don't know anything about this, but it sounded like what you're saying is let's say they brought an ounce of gold in that was worth just an ounce of gold. Then they bring it into the bank, and then they were given a certificate.
Yep.
So that they could just store the certificate, and then one day they can go back to the bank and say, get the gold back or exchange it for currency or something. I mean, they weren't going to use that little...
Yes, exactly.
Right, yeah. But it was just sort of a thing that...
But
the voucher, like, hey, you guys have my gold, and then you go back in and say, hey, I want to exchange one of my ounces, and then give me back cash so I can go out and spend that. Or something. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. And then, but when that's what happened. But then when those people, became elderly and passed away, down to their children, the children got their inheritance, which was the money. But then somewhere along the line, after several, I think 2 wars that we had with our country, then suddenly the banks handed out money that didn't say that it was backed by gold or silver. So the banks had the gold and silver that were given to them, 100 or so years ago. But then the people that had originally given them the gold and silver passed away. So whatever, that's what I don't understand. Like, what happened to that gold and silver?
Well, because
not everybody went in and got it back.
Well, what you're saying is it was converted into cash that was backed by. But see, that's how it was back then. But that's just still cash. They've already cashed out on the gold. They just have, because now they have money that they go around and they're buying stuff with it. So they wouldn't go back and get it.
And then.
Yeah.
Well, then remember when they had when they brought out all the new quarters and they were like, oh, collect all the 50 states of quarters. And when they were doing that, they slowly took all the quarters that were actually made with silver. I think it was anything before 1965 was like some high percentage of pure silver. And like those quarters and half dollars, you don't find them anymore. They're very rare. The bank slowly started just keeping them.
Yeah.
I just think it's, I just think it's strange. Like, I just wonder where all of it went.
My grandfather used to have all these gold coins, and he brought them to school one time, and then somebody stole them. But, man, I bet that would have been worth a lot of money today. I mean, 1 ounce is like $1,500 or more. You know?
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. I guess maybe it's like a conspiracy theory. But I read somewhere on the internet about it, and then I was like, wow, that makes sense. Like, where did all of that gold and silver go?
Well, some people
and why did they take all the silver coins back?
Some people want to go back to, having gold back all the money that's floating around out there. And I don't know. I don't know how. See, the thing is,
I think we should.
Yeah, maybe, but it just seems like, how do we get it all to work? It's like right now, it's funny because what is money really at this point?
It's backed
weird.
by good faith of the government, and our government is not really good faith,
Well, it's strange because what is money? Like, I work, and then I get these numbers put into my account, and then I go and I was given that because somebody else gave the company that I work for money, and they deem that it's worth part of that money to give to me, so it goes into my account. But then the people who paid my company the money, where did they get their money? See, it's almost like a shell game, There is really,
we all just agree that it's worth it, but it's not really worth anything.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. We all agree that money is worth something, and therefore, let me hear. Boo! I'm just trying to make this. I had this weird blasting sound that my mic just made. I don't know what that was, but yeah, it's like we all just agree what money is worth, and we just accept it. And then one day, when all this debt goes to hell, somebody's going to say, see, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. God, see, other countries have gone through absolute hell with this issue, where all of a sudden they have $1. Now the dollar is worth 1,000th of what it was worth. So you have to spend $1,000 to buy, in their world, to buy milk. So that's what's strange. So we seem to be immune.
I feel like that's where we must be headed. Like, the cost of everything is going up so fast, it's just insane, and we're not getting paid more.
Well, I don't know.
I bought a bottle of soda the other day, and it was like almost $3 for like a bottle of ginger ale. I was like, oh,
well, I think a lot of that's just,
really?
I think a lot of that's just like taxes in the town that you're in or something. The thing is a lot of the stuff's way cheaper, like computers and shit. I remember in like 1980, my parents, they bought like an Apple II Plus, and it was like $3,000, and that's 1980, which that makes it about $6,000. And now you can get a computer that's 4,000, way, like 20,000 times better than that one for $1,000. So. That's
true. And like having a car phone was really expensive 25 years ago, and now cell phones are, easy.
You remember the one that Zach in Saved by the Bell would have. I bring this up every once in a while.
Yeah.
He pulled out that phone.
Yes, I do. It's like a brick.
Yeah, it looked like an army phone with an antenna on it, man. And he thought he was all cool driving around in that sucker, like, oh yeah, look how great I am, man, I'm awesome. It's like it's the stupidest looking thing I've ever seen. Are you kidding me?
I remember thinking when I was a kid that like being able to talk on the phone and see someone at the same time was like a space-aged idea, and now it happens every day.
Do you ever notice that remember when the original cell phones had come out, they were sort of the flip phones? Remember that?
Yep.
And I guarantee, I will bet money that the reason they look like that is for one reason, is because the dorks and the geeks that invent those kind of things are big Star Trek fans, and they knew that the communicators that were on Star Trek worked the same way. You flip them open, you start dialing, and so what they should have done was put a sound effect in there. As soon as you flip it open, it goes, And I'm talking about the early Star Trek, the one from the late 60s. Yeah. Anyways, that's my opinion.
Yes, I do remember that.
I'm sure you're not that
What
old,
do you think will happen, though? Like, I'm 35, but I have an older brain. I still watch MASH and I Love Lucy, so.
Oh, okay, there you go.
But like, what do you think would happen if we went into some type of a depression now? I do kind of worry about that. Like, it's just because crime has raised so much. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm diving into a bad area here. I worry way too much about that.
Well, if you want to go into depression, get some other politician in there. I mean, I'm just saying, right now our economy is doing really well because a lot of regulations and everything have been taken off, and people can build things, and it doesn't suffocate industries, and it's free flow. So if you can put up with if not liking the guy because the economy is doing so great, then do it. Because if you get somebody else in there that's talking about health care for everybody, it will only cost $100 trillion, but don't worry about that. That's not going to work. Okay.
Well, yeah, because it's not worth anything. It's just dollars we agree on. But did you just say that you're going to run for president, Gray? I think you did.
No, I did not say that.
You could totally do that.
I did not say that. No,
I would vote for you.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't make it through the vetting process. I guarantee it. Not a chance. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, wow. We just randomly talked about some other stuff. Yeah.
Well, I've been dying to talk to someone about that, and the people around me, when I bring that up, you can see their eyes glaze over, and I'm like, okay, let's talk about hot dogs. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'll admit
they're not interested in it.
I don't really know that that well, that whole topic about the backing with gold, how that would work, and all that. But I mean, I've thought about it before. I mean, I'm not afraid to say what I've thought about, but I'm not an expert on that kind of stuff at all. So, but it was cool talking about.
I just feel like that our ancestors kind of gave away money and then they got kind of ripped off. I feel like with the wars that happened and all the distractions that, like, I don't know, our ancestors, nobody thought to be like, hey, just make sure you know that I put a bunch of gold in this bank, So then all of a sudden now we can't get the gold or silver. It's all put somewhere.
Yeah.
I tried to get silver $50 from my bank, and they refused to give me any of them. And I was like, really? Like, you won't give it to me? And the woman's like, no, we can't. And I was like, okay, fine.
I like watching that show.
Because I wanted to save them for my daughter.
You ever watch Gold Rush, the show? Oh.
Yes, I have. Oh, I tried going panning for gold in the rivers here. I didn't find anything, but I thought I did, but I didn't.
Wait, hold on one second. I got to get this.
Run
the show. Run the show first.
Oh, God, run the show. I can't even see the screen. Hello, freak family. I'm running the show. Type of 1 if you think that was a ridiculously bad idea. Type of 2 if you think Gray should run for president.
All right, now I'm back. Run for president.
Okay, good.
That was my wife saying she was heading home, but I gotta answer it. Yeah, I'm not running for president. 2 was not running for president, right? Okay, good. Is that what you asked? I didn't even hear what you asked. What did you ask?
I said type of 1 if you can understand me or something. I don't even know what I just said. I have no idea. You got me all nervous. No clue.
Oh. Huh.
Oh, God.
What was the question?
Oh, God.
I don't even know what it was. Mm-hmm. I want to go to the diamond mine. Yeah, I watched Gold Rush. That's a crazy show, man. What was that one guy, Parker? They got something like 4,000 ounces this last season, or maybe it was like 6. That's so much money.
There's got to be more gold hidden all around the country, too, and the world.
I think there's gold everywhere.
Find it.
I figured it out. I mean, I really think there's actually gold almost anywhere. I just think you have to have the equipment to dig it out, and it's not worth it if you can't get enough.
It's where a waterfall used to be, right? Hundreds of thousands or thousands of years ago, where a waterfall was. Isn't that where you're supposed to dig?
Well, I mean, you might find some in there, but you can actually, in some parts of Oregon, you can take a metal detector, go on the ground, and find a nugget. That's what's crazy.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember what season it was, but they went. See, the guys that are in Gold Rush are from Oregon. A couple of them, or the Hoffman family. So they went to Colorado. No, I think it was in Oregon. So, well, maybe it was Colorado. Maybe I'm saying that wrong. But anyway, in Colorado, they were just going around with the metal detector, and the kid goes, "Oh, look what I found!" It's just sitting there. In Australia, they do the same thing. There's videos on YouTube. I just think there's gold all over the place.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I don't think you'd want to take all the
I
gold.
live in New England, so like...
Yeah.
I
was going to say...
In New England, we have all these stone walls, and you can take a metal detector to them, and you find, like, you know, little metal boxes that people hid long ago there. It's actually pretty cool. You find them in rivers, too.
Yeah, well... I was thinking that the... what the hell was I going to say? Ah, crap. Can't remember now. Can't remember. Getting old.
You were talking about finding gold everywhere.
Yeah. What the hell is this? Yeah, finding gold everywhere. Yeah. I mean, I really just think anytime especially if it's a desert area and water had been there, I just think it's kind of, there's gold all over the place. It's easier to mine there, too. It's hard to mine mud, you know? So whenever you got, like, dry...
Isn't gold where
Well, it's weighted down.
Isn't it found in quartz?
Well, quartz is associated with it.
Oh, okay.
And I'm sure maybe there might be some quartz that has a little piece in it somewhere, but that's just usually they can, you know, they associate stuff like that. Yep, back to you, Jim. Somebody typed that.
All right, well, I'll let somebody else call in. I'm outside freezing my butt off, but nice talking to you, Gray. I'll be back in the chat.
All right, good talking to you. Thanks for calling in.
Okay, bye.
All right, thanks. And thank you for running the show for a couple minutes there when I had to answer a call. Oh, so somebody doesn't know it. Let's see. Okay, L101 is this. I'll tell you what it was. We were reading letters that were written to shit, I don't even remember the guy's name. I don't even... Watts. Jeez. Thank you. I'm glad that his name doesn't pop into my head. Yeah, so the Watts case, we were reading letters that were written to him because they were so stupid. I mean, these groupie idiot morons who actually write letters, you know, trying to profess their love to a person who killed their wife and 2 kids. I mean, what a great relationship you would have, too, with that person. If you just said the right things. Anyways, we were reading the letters, and they said, one of the parts said, hey, well, I just got, you know, something like this, okay? Just got done baking cookies, LOL. And then my buddy Ada, who was reading it, thought it said 101. So she read it, just got done baking cookies, 101. And then I said, no, that's LOL, okay? You know, it turned into a joke. And then it turned out where 101, LOL got replaced with 101. But then we were discussing one night, are people real, when you say LOL all the time, are you really laughing out loud? Seriously? So we need to say literally LOL. And then Ada chimed in, who hadn't been saying a damn thing. She chimes in after just dead silence and says, shouldn't that be L101? Or L101, not LOL? Okay, and then I said, you're absolutely right. And now that's actually a mug and a shirt. And that's for you to be going around the country and having people say, what the hell is the L101? And as a matter of fact, we have another shirt idea that says, what the hell is this? Because somebody showed up to just a random show and typed that in. And I thought that was funny at the time. Didn't you? Yeah. Yeah, look at, man, I went to the store today and I picked a tomato up, and then when I picked a tomato up, about 10 of them rolled off and went onto the ground. RFLOA. Really? So after you saw that, you got on the floor and rolled around laughing. Wow. That's incredible. Let's see, what is it? Rolling. RO. What is it anyway? Type it in. Yeah, look, and I'm going to tell you this right now. If you pull a tomato out and 3 of them roll on the ground, and you literally, roll on the floor laughing your ass off, if you actually do that, there's something wrong with you, okay? I would actually put you in a mental facility if I saw you rolling around and then have your ass actually literally fall off because you laughed so hard. All right, 508, you're on the air.
Hi, Gray.
Hey.
This is Shazzy D, and
It sounds like a rapper name.
It's what?
It sounds like a rapper name. Chazzy D?
No, it was a nickname given to me a while back. So I used it on YouTube instead of giving my real name. But hey, I get a question about what's her name? I'm not going to say it correctly. Adriana
Quintal.
Quintal, yeah.
Or Quintal. I don't know. It's spelled Quintal. Yeah.
Yeah. When you were saying about the pocketbook, when I was reading an article, it says the pocketbook's missing in her wallet.
Really?
I mean, her pocketbook is
Purse.
in cottage, and her wallet is there. It was just something that I had read.
What did you say was missing? It wasn't missing or was missing? What was missing?
No, I'm sorry. There's a little lapse in the thing, in the call. But her pocketbook was in the cottage with her wallet. So she, from the article that I read.
Okay, so she left with nothing. She basically left with nothing then.
Yeah.
And that's another thing, too. But if you were leaving and you were trying to escape, for example, I don't think you would take your ID and things like that, because if you used your card somewhere, it would show that it would show up and the police would say, oh, yeah, well, she used it over there, and then it would, now you're known to be alive. It's like that movie Sleeping with the Enemy. Remember that? Where she completely disappeared?
Yeah. Yeah, I was just thinking money-wise, but then here's my other question. I mean, I don't know if you can pull it up to look at it, but when he was talking to the sister, he talked about that on the attic, that there was a way to get into the cottage, or that it was very small, she said, and didn't think that someone could get into it, but that there was an area that do you remember that? And do you remember, like, on the picture that you showed, could we see that area on that by any chance when they were talking about that? I know you had pulled up the screen. I was in your chat, and I was watching it.
Oh, you mean in the video or whatever? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other thing I was thinking, which I know it sounds kind of dumb, but, my first thought was she probably ran. But then when I thought of the pocketbook being there and money being there and the phone and everything, the phone, they could trace her with that. But then, just on the fact that she, it sounded like she was scared to death, thinking that someone was outside. And I read on another article, I was trying to find it too, to see if you had heard that too. But this was in the beginning, so I think that we haven't heard anything about it since. But it said that the boyfriend was a suspect, or a person of interest. And I know that she had said on that little when she had talked to him, one of her things was that she was saying that she might have felt like he was behind it. And so I just a crazy thing that I was thinking. I know it was her phone, her shoes, and I'm not sure what else on the attic. And then the window that opened up, that it looked like she went out of in the picture that you showed, and got up to the attic. And I'm wondering, she also said there was no footprints because of the gravel, around that area. and they weren't able to, see anything from what she had said. But I wonder if that someone could have gotten in the house, and she went up to try to hide and not run, and have him see her. But then I'm thinking, well, he probably would have heard her, walking on the roof. So I was just thinking, I was just trying to think of a few different things. And, my first thing was, did she run? But then I'm thinking, it sounds more, I don't know. I'm thinking more that it seems like something might have happened.
Alien abduction, okay? I think we're not too far off of alien abduction at this point. I'm just joking. Well, the thing is, it's so weird, okay?
Yeah.
It's like she just disappeared off the roof. It wasn't like she, there's no evidence that she ever even made it to the ground. There's no footprints. There's nothing. The only evidence is logic that she made it to the ground, because it most definitely wasn't alien abduction. So that means she made it to the ground, because she's not in the cabin. She's not in the attic. So she made it to the ground and either got into a vehicle somewhere or walked off this direction and is probably not alive anymore. I mean, that's a huge area there.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
A wooded area.
I'm wondering too, though, on that with that conversation that they had about that attic, that someone could actually get in there when she had said that. And then I'm thinking, well, geez, could somebody have gotten in the house? Or,
I don't know.
In the cottage.
Could be all kinds of stuff. Who knows? But anyways, I think that one thing she said that she saw a cougar that day. Now,
yes,
cougar,
yes,
but the thing is cougars are really, really rare to just see. So it's like, what are the odds that she just happened to see a cougar on the same day that she has this whole crazy mental...
Could she have thought it was a different animal and just called it the wrong animal?
Well, I mean, maybe. I guess. I mean,
I
think when you see a cougar, well, even a bobcat's rare as hell. I mean, you don't just see bobcats just, oh yeah, I'm just hanging out. Oh wow, look at that. I mean, I've seen 3 or 4 in my life, but I just think it's weird.
But I wouldn't know the difference. That's the point that I'm saying is I'd have to be honest in saying if I saw something out there, and where I live, I wouldn't know what they are. I really wouldn't know. I'd have to call my
the thing is bobcats look about as different as you can from a cougar. I mean, a cougar. I mean, a bobcat has those big ears, the big feet, and they're not really that big totally. I mean, they're I think they weigh something like 30 to 40 pounds, and a cougar is different. Sleeker, longer. They've got the. I mean, I guess it's possible. I just think the whole thing about seeing that actually leads more to she was having a mental event type of thing.
Yeah.
Because
a mental health issue happening. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that sort of points to that, unless maybe she really did see a cougar. Who knows, right?
Yeah. And they did, I think she said that they did search with the dogs and stuff around that area. And they were going to go back, I think, again when the snow wasn't on the ground. It's. I mean, I don't know if they can't find her in that area. I don't know. You're right. It's really a tough one to figure this one out.
It's wild.
It's really a tough one.
It's definitely a brain scratch, and go watch John Lorden's brain scratch episode on that.
Go watch what?
Well, John Lorden's. He made a video. That's where I got the interview from that he let me use.
Yeah, I watched it on yours.
Yeah.
I was on your live stream.
Yeah, well, you should go check it out on his channel because he's got the whole, he leads into it by talking about different things, then the interview, and then it kind of wraps up and that kind of thing. But it's a lot more streamlined for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of interesting, but I earlier you had questioned whether that the purse was there, and I remember I had read it online saying it wasn't. So I'm like,
I mean, it was. So
I don't know.
So you mean
not that it changes anything, but
I know, but you just said wasn't again. So you're saying the purse was there.
Yeah, it it was in the cabin.
Okay, good. All right, so everything was there. She basically left with the no shoes and the clothes on her back. I mean, just literally.
Yeah.
You know, maybe she did have another pair of shoes on. Maybe that was part of the ruse. Who knows? But I mean, it's also like she has kids, so that's one of the things that takes away from the ruse part of it. It's like, would she really do that to all of her kids? Would she? You know, I don't think.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like she would do that.
And then wasn't there something kind of funky about the boyfriend? You know, not really cooperating with the police and not even talking to the family, and I thought that was kind of interesting. I mean, you would think that if someone was missing, you'd go out of your way to try to help and try to find them.
Right.
And I thought I could be misunderstanding it, but I thought that he wasn't really cooperating that much with the police.
Yeah.
And didn't he get a lawyer or something?
Yeah. Well, hold on. Does she only have one kid? That kid is, I think it starts with like a K, or is it Kurt, or I can't remember now. But he has. But didn't she have some younger kids too, or something? I don't remember now. There's so many cases.
I just remember the one kid. For
Nick.
some reason, I'm remembering the one. They were talking about the one kid, but there could be others. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, there was that one kid that wasn't he like a witness to say that they were doing work in the condo or something like that. I think, I know that there was a child that had mentioned something that, I'm trying to think where he was, or maybe that was with the father. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, that could be what I'm thinking of. But I don't know. There could be more kids, but I do remember that there was one kid. There was one young boy. Yeah, but yeah, it's kind of sad, the whole scenario, and just something that is just you can't figure it out. You can't figure out this one at all.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Well, thanks for calling
all right,
in.
Well, I was just.
You had some interesting stuff. I don't know about the crawl space. We'll have to figure out if that played a role at some point, but it just sounds like the police are completely baffled, just like we are.
Yep.
So there you go.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks for calling in. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care. Thank you for everything. Take care.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Well, I think that's going to be it for the show tonight, everybody. Thank you for joining in and sharing. And yes, if you see somebody rolling on the floor, laughing their ass off after they pull out a tomato and 4 more hit the ground, immediately call a mental hospital and have them take that person away in a straitjacket. All right. Okay. Yeah, all right. Getting some laughs there. All right, that's all I care about. So thank you to. Let's see. Jessica, Terry, Shogun, Love, Wombat, Dundee, Kit Kat, and then I think there was. Hold on. Let's see. Oh yeah, and then Jessica, or no, it's not Jessica. Jesse Diner Ryan. Thank you very much for PayPal. Very cool. Yeah. Just trying to read. I got some emails here. All right. Well, there you go, everybody. That's it. Where do you want to do? I'm just going to do one lap on the flyby tonight. So I got to get going here. Kit Kat. Thank you,
Just
guys.
looked in the mirror and saw a cougar lol rolling on the floor laughing, rolling on the floor laughing, rolling on the floor laughing.
Just looked. You saw a cougar. Oh, I get it, Kit Kat. I get it. Boom. Yeah. That was a pretty good one. That was pretty good. Thanks, Shazzy D. See, that is a rapper name. My name's Shazzy D.
Thanks for all you do, Gray.
Yeah. I think this... no problem, by the way. This... the case that we were talking about, this one, I got to get some more information on it. The Tina Lauser one. I think that one feels like there should be resolution to it, doesn't it? I know it's been a long time, but there's got to be answers. So if you guys come across anything on that one, let me know. All right, somebody suggested Banff Springs the other day, so we'll try that one. Or Banff, not Banff Springs, but that's where I'm going to go. All right, you guys ready? Seeing Banff Springs in a video game that I played, the golf course. Oh, look at that. Crazy. Hey, thanks, Gwendolyn. Thank you, Full Metal Jackalope. Wow, that's a lot of snowy mountains there. All right, everybody. Thank you for showing up tonight. And thank you for those last-minute super chats, Gwendolyn and Full Metal Jacket and Kit Kat and Nenny C, dancing her way at the end of the show. All right.
Woman dancing medium light skin tone, woman dancing medium light skin tone, woman dancing medium light skin tone, woman dancing medium light skin tone.
Thank you, Streamlabs, for that absolutely accurate description. Because we all needed that. We needed to have all that information to see what we see. All right, everybody. I think that's it for the show tonight. All right. So thank you all. I'm not sure what Blue's doing there. Okay, that's his head over there. Wow, that was confusing. All right. Well, thank you for showing up and contributing and following along. Had some interesting stories that we're currently following at this point, even some old ones that are really interesting. And that's it. All right, everybody. So, and as I always say, until next time, everybody, be safe out there. Oh, thanks, Daddy. Rolling on the floor laughing, rolling on the floor laughing, rolling on the floor laughing. Be safe out there.